where do we spend a lot of time that's not highest and best use, and delegate that and outsource that. So, and right now this is like supercharged with several people. We're using a lot of AI, and we're even like helping the VAs to buy that time back.
You're asking yourself, why am I doing this?
Smart people would know how to use all these different tools. They start with something small.
You'll never get your entire organization if you don't pull off operations. Don't give up.
It can be as small as that.
I think you guys are going to have a blast today.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Delegate That podcast, where we discuss the art and science of delegation, business management, and leadership. Today, I am stoked to have a good conversation with Matthias Gruenwald. We were discussing whether or not I should try to pronounce that in the German, and I decided that I will just say it like an American. And then if Matthias wants to say it in German, then we'll go with that. But Matthias, if you can, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody and tell us about your business.
Great intro, man. You stole my thunder. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me. Matthias Gruenwald, pronounced in German Matthias Gruenwald, in case you guys are curious. I'm originally from Germany, moved here about 13 years ago from Germany to the US. Live right now in Greenville, South Carolina. My W-2 brought me over to the US. Right now I'm a full-time entrepreneur, managing partner of a real estate investment firm. We buy mobile home parks, and we have over $20 million of assets under management, which is about 600 plus mobile home lots, which is not only mobile homes, we also have apartments and small multifamily units. So a lot of property management that we're doing. We have in-house property management for all those properties. We mainly use investors' money to buy these properties, and the bank's money, so to speak. And we do mainly syndications. That's how we run that business. So really excited to be here. And again, thanks for having me, Adam.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's great to have you. I appreciate it. So I love the fact that you are, so I get a mixed bag of folks in the real estate side of the house. Some that believe that they should be vertically integrated and have all the management in-house. Some people that are like, oh, there's no way I want to do all that. I want to stay focused on what I'm good at. What was kind of your delineating factor to decide whether you wanted to actually manage all of this yourself versus getting a third-party property manager?
Yeah, a good question. So in the beginning, I always like to do things myself to understand how they work before I delegate it, so I can actually delegate it effectively. That's the way I always did it. Even when we bought our very first real estate property, it was a duplex, and we managed it ourselves, and it wasn't really that bad to manage it ourselves. We always approached it as like a business, obviously, not as a hobby. We understood if we ever gonna delegate this to a property manager, or we build a property management company vertically integrated, we know what we expect from them because we did it ourselves. I did the same thing on my W-2 back in the day in manufacturing. Before we got a new piece of equipment running and delegated to managers, I ran the machine myself for a couple hours just to understand it. I'm just very naturally curious how things work. And also, if somebody tries to BS you about the process or about something, you know exactly how it works, and you can sniff out like the BS from people, how to manage it. So it also is cheaper if you do it in-house, and you can also create a profit center with it as well. You have like a standalone property management company, which basically gets paid from the property, so to speak. And with mobile home parks, the rents are a lot lower than with an apartment or single family homes. So usually what third-party property management companies do, they charge a percentage, right? And since the rents are so much lower on mobile home parks, lot rent, for example, like in most markets, like $400, $500. I mean, the Florida market's probably more like $700, $800. It's like half of what the apartment would charge in the area, which means they have to jack up the percentages. So they're taking like 12 to 15% of gross for that. And we charge us internally between 8 and 10%. So the deal itself is for our investors makes more money. The NOI is higher, net operating income, which means the valuation is higher, which means the investors get more money back, when we refi or sell the property. So there's different reasons why we do it this way. And we have total control. Nobody cares more about the property than yourself because it's your property. If you give it a third party management, you're just in the pool of, perhaps thousands or tens of thousands of units they're managing, and the high priority. But your own property is always the highest priority, right? So you always take care of it.
Do you feel overwhelmed with mundane tasks that eat up your valuable time? It's time to reclaim your schedule and focus on what truly matters. Get your time back with elite remote talent without the time zone hassle. Delegate $10 an hour tasks to focus on more $1,000 an hour tasks. Schedule your free strategy call at �57.io.
What is it? What was kind of the growth for that? Right, you have 600 units now. You mentioned your first property being a duplex. How did your growth go from duplex to 600 units? What did that trajectory look like for you?
Yeah, the duplex we bought in 2021. That was the very first one. So we basically went from 2021 to now 4 years, basically from 2 units to over 600. The first year, I think the duplex we owned for like a year and a half before we made the second deal. We just got our feet wet. We just had to get started. Then we bought a fourplex, double the unit count, so to speak, or went from 2 to 6 units. But we kind of try to do the stacking method, start with 2 unit, then a 4, then we want to do 8, 16. Of course, it's not that linear. But we went from 2 to 4, and then we say, okay, let's go commercial. And then we did a 26 unit apartment complex, 27 unit RV park. And in that deal, I met my now partner, 𝗺𝗶𝘀𝗀𝘀𝘁𝗀, and we've been working really well together. And he's an acquisitions marketing extraordinaire, and I'm a very heavy operations guy, so we meshed really well together. He gets all the deals from brokers or direct to seller opportunities, and I'm the one really that gets the processes, the fish that he's catching, so to speak. The underwriting, the operations, the structure, so to speak. And then from there, we grew really rapidly. We did 4 syndications last year. We did 2 more this year. We have that's number 7 and 8 right now, baking, so to speak. Won't be done the books right now for raising money for that in the next couple of days, actually. So we've grown pretty rapidly, and using other people's money, and that's what I say, they're called OPM, other people's money in real estate, really unlocks the level of growth that you can't do with your own money, obviously. But it brings a lot of responsibility too, because you're handling other people's money, which I rather lose my money than investors' money. So you have to really build a strong business around it. So that's very important to us.
So as you were kind of growing, what was the first position that you brought in-house that you decided to hire? So, I mean, you mentioned at the beginning that you wanted to learn all this stuff. You managed it all yourself so you could learn it before you delegated it. What was the first thing you decided to start delegating as you were growing? Yeah,
sure. We basically have an approved vendor list on each property. And then we have a property management assistant that takes the phone calls, right? And our property management system, we have the maintenance tickets coming in, and you can usually, see very quickly, is a plumbing issue, is an electrical issue, whatever. And then that person knows who to call, and they call name with the vendors, call name with the tenant. There's a lot of touch points. There's a lot of, it's not hard work, but it's work. And that's why we delegated first, because there's a lot of interaction points, and that buys it back a lot of time. Like leaning on Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time. It's really what we base our business on. Okay, where do we spend a lot of time that's not highest and best use, and delegate that and outsource that. So, and right now this is like supercharged with several people. We're using a lot of AI, and we're even like helping the VAs to buy that time back, so we can use them for the highest and best use. So, but that's how we start with the property management assistant to get like the first mundane tasks outsourced, so to speak.
So you mentioned before the recording, a lot of one of the things you've been good at is kind of systematizing all of your operations and that sort of thing. And it sounds like you've started that from the beginning. Was that something that you picked up from your W-2? I mean, you said you're in manufacturing. When you're in manufacturing, I'd imagine systemization and everything going the way they're supposed to be, like step 1, step 2, step 3. Is that something you just kind of picked up from your W-2 that you just were like, hey, I know that I need to apply this here, and then started doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what happened. Because I was the chief operating officer at a manufacturing company, so I had to build all the processes and structures and hire and fire. We were growing pretty rapidly too at that company. The reason why I moved here is because we built that new facility, and I was spearheading it for the company, and built from 0 to 150 people out of the gate over like 18 years, something like that. 13 years. 18 years I was with the organization, but 13 years was in the US. But I was there before and building that other manufacturing facility there with them in Germany. But yeah, with that, you learn a lot, you face plant a lot, and you do a lot of mistakes. And I could use that experience in real estate very easily. And in automotive, I was in automotive manufacturing. There's a lot of high stake production going on. You have just-in-time production where the manufacturer tells you need to deliver this part number at this time, or if you're late, you shut my line down. It's going to be like a $3,000 a minute penalty if you don't make it on time. It's really high stakes. They can bankrupt you in a day or two if you do a supply chain mistake. So actually, real estate is like much calmer that way. And there's always emergencies, there's stuff that happens, but like I think I built a lot of like resilience in that industry too, and then that structure you need to have to supply your customers effectively. I think that translates really well into any business, really, and especially real estate.
So if somebody's listening and they're kind of new to this, like trying to, like they know they need to create processes, they're kind of building some of this stuff out, what's the best way for folks to be able to kind of start building those processes and realize where they need to really fill some gaps?
Do a time audit. Just see where you spend a lot of time right now. Because if you're building a company, you should be the visionary or the integrator or both. And probably in the beginning, you're both. As you get bigger, you might find a partner that can take the other role. Do a time audit. And again, Dan Martell in his book, Buy Back Your Time, has like a nice PDF you can download. And he has a link in there from his book. You can go online for all the resources. And it does like a time audit where you just go in like, hey, I just going to monitor every 20 minutes. I put an alarm on and it just, you just check what you do in that moment and just, okay, I'm writing emails, I'm doing this, I'm answering tenant calls, whatever. And then you put a dollar amount behind it, how much you think that task is worth per dollar hour, $1 per hour. And then you highlight it either red if it takes your energy, means you don't like it, or if you like it, you do it green, which means it gives you energy, you actually enjoy the work. And then you're just going to start like filtering when you're done after a week. Where you're at with that. And then you just outsource the stuff that's either like low value, and especially low value and takes your energy, obviously. So I would start there. And so kind of like how you buy back your time. That's how I would start. And I also use ChatGPT. You can actually build process of ChatGPT pretty quickly and just put in like your problem statement. Like I have this, this, and this. And I build SOPs that way, standoff procedures. Just put in like bullet points, how I want it to do, and then just get it draft one and then just fine tune a little bit and then, publish it in the company and then we adhere to it. So it's not that difficult. Just have to do the work. Some people maybe shy away. Oh, that's more work. I have to build processes now, but trust me, it's an investment. It pays dividends.
Yeah. I'm in the process of helping somebody onboard a VA. And so the same thing I told them at the beginning, it takes a lot of extra work. There's a lot of process involved. There's a lot of conversation. You feel like you're double, tripling your effort sometimes, but it's worth that effort in the beginning to release a lot of that later. So as you were kind of bringing on new folks and having some of those issues, when did you finally know that you could release it? When did you finally know that you were able to walk away and you didn't have to keep doubling the effort? You don't have to keep going through all of that. How do you kind of figure out when you're fully able to actually delegate and release?
That's a good question. So we have KPIs for everybody. So when we say there's a function of business that we did as managers or the managing partners, and we delegated to somebody else, we have a KPI dashboard we give everybody, right? And they have a KPI to adhere to. If that KPI is hit, we know we can comfortably say, okay, they got it now. And then we just do like a weekly cadence where we just go through the KPIs and just report to us. With property management, because with in-house management, we have like 2 calls a week, for example, and we go through the KPIs, so to speak. But that gives us like the confirmation, the affirmation that it's been handled well. You just have to put KPIs around it. It's the same. I mean, it's a business, right? It's all about, basically making money, having the bottom line positive, so to speak. And you just have to like plug the people in where they can drive those results. And we love to pay people based on performance. We even like hang a little carrot out there and just say, hey, if you hit those KPIs, you get another $500 bonus. You get this and this and this. If you hire those VAs out of Mexico, Philippines, $500 is a lot of money, and then you win, they win, everybody wins, everybody's happy. You can build that really nice structure around it. And everybody has like, let's go mentality. And when you build it that way.
So it sounds like it's less about completely letting go and more about, as long as, it's simpler with EOS, right? If you have, do you run it off of EOS or do you run it off? Okay.
Yeah, EOS. Yeah.
EOS. Obviously, if you have your KPIs, if somebody's hitting the numbers, right, that's one of those, as you're going through the beginning of EOS, they're like, all right, you're stranded on an island. What are the numbers you need to see to know that your company is doing well? So it's less about being able to totally let it go and more about just knowing that, okay, I can see these numbers and be happy with where we're at. How often do you kind of adjust those numbers? And how is your scaling go when you're bringing somebody in, right? So, maybe at the beginning, you're like, hey, I need you to hit, 3/4 of the KPI number because I know you're not quite where you're at yet. How do you kind of scale that on the transition period?
The targets are really set by what the business has to achieve, like to get investor returns, right? So sometimes we even like put stretch targets in. So they need to get as close as possible. If they're hitting green all the time, we probably don't have the bar high enough. So we like to push the limits in a good way. So to speak. So it doesn't mean we making them unachievable that people don't get their bonuses. That's like, if you hit that, you get a bonus. If you hit that, you get another bonus, because that's a stretch target. So they aim higher, but if they fall short 10%, they're still hitting, the actual target, so to speak. And they both are very transparent, those targets. So with that being said, with that weekly cadence that we have, and then we do weekly asset management reviews where the leadership team comes together, we might adjust them very frequently, where we say, okay, now we have a rent increase coming in for this community. Of course, the revenue is going to go up, which means we have to push that target up. So collections increase as well. So that KPI for collections goes up also. So, or we're adding new homes to a community, new mobile homes, for example, which means you have delinquencies might go up, naturally. So you have to kind of open up that threshold a little bit. So you're constantly tweaking. It never stops. I think you should never just have like KPI out there and just like, okay, well, you just go with the wind and let it in there for months. I think you always have to touch them, move them around a little bit, but don't make it so irritating to the people that manage those KPIs that they always have like an ever-moving target in front of them. It has to be some stability, but don't have it stagnant for years, I'm trying to say. So you move it around a little bit, but I think that also builds a dynamic company, and everybody stays on top of their toes, on top of their feet.
So as you're continuing to grow, how large is your team right now, and what's the makeup as far as like US based versus virtual assistants?
Yeah, we have about 12 people in total, including the VAs that we have. So relatively small team, but we get a lot accomplished. We use a lot of AI tools. So we have, so it's myself, of course, in the team. We have accounting CFO, fractional CFO, so to speak, on the team. He's a longtime friend. He's an accounting veteran. He did accounting 18 years, and he's a CMA. He's on the team. Then we have our other partner. He is the marketing sales lead as well. He's out of New Mexico, so he's a big partner of ours. He's one of the co-founders from us, between us. Tim, myself, and Vinny are the founders. And then we have his wife is actually doing all the diligence as well. She's on the team. And then we have a bunch of VAs, like for the property management system. We have a virtual property manager as well. We have an executive assistant that we're working with. And we have also community managers in each community. So if you have like a mobile home park with 75 units or 75 tenants, there's usually like one property manager or community manager, we call them. On site, there's like the boots on the ground for us. So they go to court for us. So there's an eviction. If there's any emergencies in the area, they go there. So we have all those. So there's a couple people there. And sometimes like one community manager can manage several communities, kind of act as like regional manager if you have a lot of communities in the same city, for example. So yeah, that's how we have it structured. And right now we're hiring another virtual assistant. We're actually promoting our executive assistant to social media manager because he's very passionate about it. And we kind of sniffed that out working with him. He did some content creation for us and realized he does a really good job. And we looked at his social media, and he actually has like a vlog going on, for travel vlog. And we were like, hey, seems like you enjoy that really a lot. And then he's like, yeah, I'm really passionate about social media and creating content. So we gave him kind of like a run at it and gave him social media KPIs, and he runs our LinkedIn sales navigator to get leads in for potential investors. And again, he has KPIs, how many have to go through the funnel and how many calls scheduled, etc. And now we backfill his position with another executive assistant pretty soon for email management, time management, etc. So as we are growing, like I like to always hire within, so to speak. So see where people's strengths are, move in that direction. Whatever they can't do anymore, we hire somebody else and backfill. And then let people grow organically within the company. So that seemed to work really well at my W2 when we built that company from 0 to 150 people. And with the real estate business we have, you don't need 150 people to do major money, right? Because with like manufacturing, you have a lot of operators, obviously. There's a lot of hands-on activities. We don't have that in real estate. It's more about like managing assets, obviously, which can be done remotely most of the time. So we're doing a lot with 12 people. But I know other companies, they're $1 billion real estate company that run with around 100 people. You can make a lot of money in real estate, a lot of revenue, so to speak, a lot of assets under management. So I think we will double in size probably in the next 5 years because we have big, audacious goals. So again, we actually just talked about this morning in our internal team meeting to hire 2 more VAs because we're taking on like another 300 units in one of our local markets here where we take over management here pretty soon. So, which is pretty amazing. And we're really excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you're kind of building all of these out, obviously the management of all of this delegation is going to be a key portion of what you're doing. You mentioned obviously 2 meetings a day for 2 meetings a week with some of the different teams and everything. How do you how has your cadence changed in your communication with everybody over the time that you've been continually growing? And how do you see it continuing to change as you move forward?
Actually, in the beginning, I think we had daily calls with everybody. And then at some point, if you hire more people, you can't do that anymore. You just have calls all day. And then where's the visionary work happening? Nowhere, because you don't have time for anymore. So what you have to do is then as you get bigger, you have to really slow down the cadence, but make it more meaningful, and then really zoom in on what needs to be reviewed. So with the property management, we had like daily check-ins. Now it's twice a week. With the executive assistant, we had daily check-ins, but he knows how to do it now. With the email management and like scheduling calls with investors, scheduling calls with, other people that want to interest in the business and want to invest with us, or sellers of mobile home parks, for example. He, at some point, I get so independent and efficient in their work. You don't need to micromanage them. At some point, you should give them the freedom to do the job. And then at some point, you just have the check-in of like, okay, are they hitting their KPIs, or what kind of challenges do they have, and how can we remove them? So as us as managers or as leadership, you always want to work with the team, and not like just be the micromanager, iron fist manager that just like commands everybody around. You want to be the person that develops the people and see what their strengths are, and then just give them like a longer leash, and amazing things happen that way. People just make their own decisions. That means they don't have to contact you. It builds their confidence as well as you go with that. And I think as we are growing, I think the cadence will also be less frequent for myself and my partners, the managing partners. But we actually have on the radar the high-end operations manager, which will take kind of like the operations seat of myself, so I can step up a little bit higher from, let's say, 20,000 foot to 30,000 foot, so to speak. And that one will probably do like the cadence we have right now, but we will have then just like a once a week check-in with the operations manager, and he has the twice a week property management. And then maybe that system down below that, they maybe have daily check-ins because they're like, they're within the property management or community management crew, they're going to have the daily check-ins. I think that the lower down you go, the cadence is more frequent, and the higher you go, it's less frequent, but it's going to be more top level KPI review, financial reviews, and also like strategy, vision review to make sure we head in the right direction. So I think as you grow, you have to definitely have a wider cadence to be effective.
So in both what you're doing now and in your previous W2, I mean, some people as they're growing their business, especially if they're the owner, they're the ones building it, they have a hard time separating themselves from those daily meetings from the folks that that are doing that daily, like, oh yeah, this is what's going on right now on the ground, and focusing on just what they're supposed to be. How did you kind of work yourself, or how do you recommend folks kind of be okay with putting themselves up and looking at it from the 30,000 foot view? Right, you just said you're going to be going from 20,000 to 30,000 foot, like stepping up even higher and kind of being able to overlook the whole thing and be the visionary from that perspective. How do you recommend folks get comfortable with that decision? Because the people are feeling like they're losing control. They're not going to actually know when something's going wrong, all the stuff. Like, how do they get comfortable with that?
Yeah, maybe one word of advice is like control is an illusion. You don't have control in the first place. You think you do if you do a lot of little things, but what you're doing is you just you created like 10, 15 jobs within your own business. You have to, if you want to seriously scale and build an empire, an enterprise, a real business, you need to delegate. You need to trust other people. You need to develop other people as well. I think that's fundamental. And you need to trust them. And I think hiring the right people in the first place is extremely important. And the way we do it is like when we got EOS started, and I did EOS on my W2 already, which people looked at me, I was inventing fire because I didn't have that in that part of the industry. I was like, we do EOS now. I was like, EO what? And then we just started doing it, and people were like, whoa, this is so cool. And then at some point I just said, you're going to run the meeting now. They're like, what? And they were really shocked. It's like, I can't do this. Like, you can. I'm just going to sit there for a while, for a couple of weeks, weekly meetings, that is. And then for the first 4 weeks you run, I'm just going to help you and do it. And at some point I got so fluent, and then just slowly stepped away. And then I saw they can do it. And if they needed help, they asked the question. You have to always give an open ear to your team if they have questions. They never should feel scared to come to you as the boss, if you're the boss. And just like, sometimes you have to throw in the cold water and just like, here, sink or swim. But with that little, why you give that nudge, give them like that warm hug to say, you got this. And if you don't, I will help you to get there. That's the way we like to do it. And right now the EOS runs by itself in our team. Nobody had an idea how EOS worked, and I implemented it. And now we have meetings. I don't have to be there, and I run, and then they even delegate stuff to me in that meeting. Say, hey, Matthias needs to look at this. I open my EOS. I was like, they had a meeting yesterday about the Oklahoma City park that we have, and I need help on this. And I put notes in it, and I have a to-do and I check it off and it's done. I put notes in it. The people know what to do. We don't have to have another meeting about what I'm supposed to do. And I wasn't even there in the first place. So, it builds like this ecosystem, and then as you get bigger, you build several ecosystems within that big ecosystem, and they all grow organically because you're breeding leaders within, the company. That's how I do it. And that's how we did it in the past. And for me, it worked really, really well.
For sure. And I mean, if you're not developing the leaders, then you're the only one that can lead. And you definitely don't want that in your company. You can't be the only person who's able to lead inside of your company because you're going to be worn out.
Yeah, your phone you can never turn your phone off. And then if you have a family and you're a family man, you won't have time for your family anymore. But like everybody comes to you asking questions. I actually have pride in the fact that they don't need me. If it sounds, some people are like, I want to be wanted. So it's like, you are wanted, but you're building that ecosystem and you make other people feel proud that they can do this because you developed in that direction. They're so loyal to you then because you made a leader out of them. And somebody that truly values, the company they're working for you, they will understand that if they get to a position where they're like true strong leaders, they will understand that they learned that from you because you are the strong leader, and develops people and it's not condescending to people and tries, get the best out of people, if that makes sense. So I'm actually glad that you can turn a phone off and come back like a week later and the company still runs effectively and even like made deals, if that makes sense. So that's really cool.
For sure. I mean, congrats on getting it to be to that point. I mean, it's one of those, it's a never ending thing. Like you got to keep going, especially if you're trying to grow, then you got to keep, you got to keep building leaders. You got to keep promoting within, like you said, and all the stuff that, a couple of things you were saying that reminded me of, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, used to own the Dallas Mavericks and was on Shark Tank and Mark Cuban. Yeah. So one of the things he talked about, somebody had asked him on an interview, they said, how do you manage all of these different businesses? You own all of these different things. How do you do that? And he said, I micromanage like crazy at the very beginning until I know for sure that they can have it. And then I step away and just wait for them to report in on the numbers. He's like, because if you know that they know how to do it and you've set it all up and the systems are there and you've micromanaged to the point where you know that you could trust this person, then let them do their job. Like let them lead. Like they've shown it, let them do it. Go forth and make it happen. And I'm hearing something similar from you as far as like, yes, be there, support them, sit in the meetings for a little while afterwards as well, but slowly pull yourself out and let them just run with it. Give them the autonomy to be able to make it happen. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Matthias, this has been absolutely awesome. I'm like jam-packed full of fantastic information. If folks are hearing this and they want to, maybe they want to invest with you, maybe they want to learn more about some of the systems, maybe just get on a phone call with you or whatnot, what's the best way for folks to be able to get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. We have a website. It's called wcginvestments.com. You can go on there and there's my email address, phone number on it as well. And you can also sign up if you're interested in getting any mobile home park investment opportunities sent to you. So you're going to go in our email funnel there. We also have a free ebook we can send out from there as well, why we like mobile home parks. And we're also very active on Facebook and LinkedIn, the Matthias Gruenwald, just a regular name. Instagram is Matthias _Gruenwald _89 for my birth year. I'm still very young. So yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me. I'm most active on those platforms. So would love to hear from you.
That is fantastic. Is there anything that you wanted to definitely hit on that we haven't been able to discuss as far as leadership, management, delegation?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of good points. I think it's just like, getting rid of that death grip on people, I think is key, and just let people organically grow, support them, be there for them. Be the boss, but also be somewhat of a friend that supports people to grow. And then from there, man, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely love it. So control is an illusion. Let go of the death grip. Give them, teach them to be leaders. I love it. Absolutely fantastic, information-filled conversation, Matthias. I thank you so much for jumping on. For those of you listening, if you enjoyed what you heard, definitely reach out to Matthias. If you want to learn more about the investments, you want to learn more about mobile home. I mean, obviously, if you want to learn more about leadership management, he's got a bunch of information there. So please, everybody, reach out to Matthias. Like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what your favorite part was. I really look forward to hearing the feedback from the episode. And Matthias, thank you again. Everybody listening, I appreciate it. And we'll see everybody on the next show.